In this video, we're going to be unboxing this Ouxi V8 E-bike. Before I open the box, I want to give you some specification. The net weight of the bike is 36 kilograms, which is about 79 pounds, and the gross weight is 47 kilograms, which is 103 pounds, is the total box. So without further ado, let's get into the box. Alright, let's open up the box, look inside. Alright, looks pretty well packaged. Here's what it looks like. There's a few foam pieces to protect it. I did get the model with the brown seat. There's only two different options, a brown seat or a black seat. Looks like it's packed pretty well. Alright, let's get into this box. So we got in here, it looks like the front brake rotor, pedals, toolkit, handlebar, clamp, charger. It comes with the manual, the air pump, and all the tools that you're going to need to assemble the bike. I'm going to bring you in to look closer at this box so you can see what's inside. You can see how it's packed. I removed the upper cartons. It's packed really well. The one thing that you want to do that I found with these e-bikes is you always want to be careful with the handlebars, because all the cables and brakes are with the handlebars, and when you pull it out, you don't want them to dangle down and then pinch or break any cables, because then you'll be in a lot of trouble. So you want to be really careful. It looks like the handlebars are here. You can see there the battery is installed. Alright, what I'm going to do here is lift the bike out of the box. Probably would help if I had an extra set of hands, but I don't. So what I'm going to do is try to lift this out. It's not too bad. I want to set the fork down on the ground. Make sure you set the fork on a piece of carpet so you don't damage it or scrape it. So overall, here is the front tire. Looks like it's going to need some air. Before I do anything, I think I'm going to put some flat out in that tire. That's everything in the box. This is the front axle. To help assemble the bike and so it doesn't fall over, I'm going to use these sawhorses. I'm going to prop it up so I can add the front wheel. But before I do that, like I said, I want to get the battery out of the bike and get that charging. Alright, I did locate the keys. The keys are zip tied to the frame right here, so I'm going to cut them off. These are the keys. Slide up with the battery. See, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. The handlebars fall like that. At least they didn't fall that far. I got the battery out. Alright, I got the battery charging with the charger that came with the bike. Make sure that you plug the charger in first, then into the battery so the charger can work up to the proper voltage and capacity. So I'm going to let that charge while I get the bike assembled. Alright, I got the front fork up on the sawhorses, the handlebars here. You don't necessarily have to have this set up. You could have a friend hold it up for you when you need to work on it. One thing that's really neat with this bike, I have to say, is it comes with an air pump to pump up the tires. It also comes with a tool kit, so you can assemble everything and not have any tools, because the bike comes with everything that you're going to need. This step is optional, but I like to do it since the wheel's off. I'm going to use this product. It's called Flat Out. The product is linked in the description below. And I'm going to squeeze and put about 3 to 4 ounces into this tire. I have to remove the valve stem. I have a valve stem removal tool. This product also comes with a valve stem removal tool. You're going to pull this out, the valve stem, and then you're going to squirt some fluid in there and then pump the tire back up. Alright, I got the tire inflated. I used this pump and I pumped it up to about that much pressure. There is no gauge, but I did check it with a tire gauge. It is sitting about 19 psi, which is what it says. 20 is the max. So I got that. What I'm going to do is use a 3mm wrench. This specific wrench here, I'm going to remove these little screws so I can install the brake rotor. Alright, I got all of them removed. Remember, the number goes outward. It doesn't really matter where. Place that like such, and then install the screws. You don't want to over tighten them too much because the wheel's probably aluminum. Could be steel. I'll check it in a second. But just going to snug them up. Make sure they're all tight. Alright, so this wheel is good to go. Put the valve stem cap back on. So it is ready for assembly when needed. Okay, we're going to install the front wheel on the fork. But before we do, we need to disassemble the front axle. What you're going to see here is you're going to remove the nut. These two washers, one is regular, one has like a hook feature on it. And then the long spacer. And what you're going to keep on here is the standard washer, the hook washer, and then the short spacer. And what you want to do is you're going to install that on the brake rotor side. You're going to slide that through like such. And then on the opposite side, you're going to reinstall that long bushing, the hook washer, and then the regular washer, and then the nut. Just install it finger tight so it's readily installed. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to place the wheel in here. Make sure the brake rotor lines up with the brake caliper. And then you're going to want to slide that into place. Alright, this is not as easy a setup as I would have liked, but this is where I wish we had the quick release tire like my other e-bikes have. But let's get this installed. What you want to do is, it's kind of tough. You got to get three things. You got to get the rotor lined up with the brake pad, the three bushings lined up, and then the axle lined up. Alright. Alright, I got the rotor in the caliper, the bushings on the inside of the axle, and now I'm going to put the hook washer on. That keeps it locked in place. Put the washer on, and then the nut. Make sure the hook washer goes into those holes. Alright, I'm gonna go get the wrenches. There's two wrenches that came with the bike, all making sure that hook washer is in both those slots. Alright, got that tightened down. Alright, that brake is installed. The brake rotor might rub a little bit. It might need to wear in a little bit, but after the first ride it'll get going. But it's good to go now. Now I'm going to go ahead and install this top fender. I guess this nut that was in between here is like acts as a spacer. So I will retain that. Slide that up in there like such. Slide that nut in between on the and then what you want to do is once you get it tightened down, you're going to bend that to get it aligned up. Alright, the bike is coming along great. Front tire, fender installed. Now I'm going to move up to the crown. Part is we're going to mount the handlebars. Now one thing to note, you want the cables to be in front. So you want to carefully bring them down. You can see the screen now. And if you can, set them down slightly like that. What you're going to do is grab the 5mm wrench. You're going to take this cap off. There's the cap, there's a spacer, and the cap. You want to set that aside. Alright, once you get that off, what you want to do is slide that down as far as it'll go. You want to have this piece ready. Loosen these up. This piece here. Set that like such. You want to take that spacer, slide it down. Now take this piece, which is the crown. Make sure the nicer side is up. This side has tabs on it. The tab side goes down. And what that does is, this is the upper part of the fork crown. Mallet. Alright, slide that down. You can see that this is not quite lined up, so what you might have to do, this is where it might help having someone, is you want to make sure that that all lines up. Get the weight off the fork a little bit. Now all of that is lined up nicely. I'm going to slide this on. Make sure the gooseneck is forward. Get that aligned. And then this piece goes on like such. Something seems off here. Alright, in order to make sure that your crown is properly seated and everything is flush, make sure that the spacing is good at the bottom. There's no spacing in this region, and you can see that the neck of the stem is just about near the top, so when I put this in, it also lines up nicely. I'm going to install that. Before you tighten this down, what you want to do is make sure that it's straight and then tighten the side bolts so that the circle trues up. Okay. And now I'm going to tighten this down. In the bottom of the box, I found the rubber cap for the top of the stem. I installed that. I'm going to remove this and install the handlebars. Alright, to install the handlebars, what we're going to do is we're going to bring them up, rotate them around. What you want to do is see where you want them. Probably like that. I don't give a lot of slack on the cabling here, but I'm going to try it in this position here. Reinstall these screws. Like I said, you can use the tools that come with the kit. They'll take a little bit longer. You're going to see some ridge lines on the handlebars, and that's the center, so line those up. Careful not to go too tight because this is aluminum. I did check. The frame is steel. I checked it with a magnet. The handlebars and a few of the other parts, the wheels are aluminum, so that's kind of neat from that aspect of it. So just gradually tighten these down, work it around from corner to corner. Okay, then what you want to do is maybe sit on the bike and get a feel for it. I think I want to rotate it a little bit back, so I'm going to go and adjust it and turn these back. Alright, I got the handlebars installed, but one thing I noticed, see how there's some play in that fork? I knew something was up. This cap wasn't aligned straight, so what I'm going to do is loosen that cap and get the weight off this and tighten all this up again. Alright, bike is pretty much all done except for the pedals. I got the pedals here. I put a little anti-seize on it. You don't really need that, but what you're going to do is you're going to use a 15mm wrench that goes on the flats of the pedal. What you want to do is look for the left, and then there's a right. So I will put on the right side, right. What you want to do is just kind of thread them on. This one is clockwise, I mean. A little past snug. All right, now the other one. All right, this one is reverse thread, so this one goes on counterclockwise. The bike is pretty much done. Obviously, I got the charger over there. What I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna adjust these brakes and shifters down. I wanna make sure that the throttle's in the right position for me. You can see I'm about 5'8". So the bike does sit a little bit tall. Taller than I would expect. You know, probably for someone that's 5 feet tall, this would be on their tippy toes. I'm 5'8" with a 32-inch inseam, so overall feels comfortable. Seat is squishy enough, so that's good. Considering it's a hardtail, no rear suspension. I guess for a license plate. It's just a plastic bracket. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Let that battery continue to charge. And then hopefully if it starts raining, go for a ride. Okay, I got the bike assembled. Before I slide the battery in, I did weigh the bike. It's 66 pounds. And then the battery was roughly another 10 pounds. So you're looking at about 76 pounds for this bike. Not bad considering all the accessories, 15 amp hour battery, fenders, good sized tires. The wheels are aluminum, the frame is steel. That Yolan bike is 83 pounds with double batteries and aluminum frame. This bike's pretty nice, I have to say, for the money. All right, moment of truth. Turn the battery on after it's installed. Come over, hold the power button. There we go. Everything's working good. All right, let's check out the headlight. The headlight shines bright, nice. Let's see what it looks like from the front. Not too bad. Not really crazy about that webbing, but maybe I can take it off. The rest of it looks cool. Let's try. That's the horn. Not gonna do it because it's late. This is the directional. Let's see what the directional looks like. Pretty cool. It's got a nice directional in the back. And then, let's see. Brake light, let's try. Yep, brake light works. All right. Now let's get into some of the display settings. I want to change it to miles per hour because, you know, we're in America and we have to have miles per hour. In this segment, I'm going to go over the different settings available on this display. To get into the custom menu, you're going to hold the plus and minus button for about 3 seconds. You're going to go into the menu. It says P01. Now, to change the settings, you're going to go plus or minus. Now, P01 is the display brightness. You can see it goes high, medium, low. I tend to keep it on the low. I'm going to cycle to P02, which is kilometers or miles. So this is where you're going to change it from. Kilometers is what it is standard out of the box. Miles is the option 1. So going back into that menu, you can see miles. There's kilometers, back to miles. Moving on to the next one. P03 is the voltage. I left that standard at 48 volts. P04 is the screen dormancy, so it's set to 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, the screen shuts off automatically. P05, I left that as the standard. P06 is the wheel size. I left that 22.8 inches. P07 is the speed gauge range. I left that standard. P08 is the speed limit. I changed that up to 100 kilometers per hour. Obviously this bike doesn't, but I didn't want to choke the controller out. P09, I left that as the standard. I don't know what that is. All right, with regard to settings, P10, 0 is pedal only, 1 is throttle only, 2 is throttle and pedal, so you can do either or. So that's what I set it to. Moving on to P11, not sure what that is. I left it the standard. P12, the same thing. All right, going all the way up to P14. I changed this. This is the current. Mine was set to like 12 amps out of the box, and I can only do 20 miles an hour. So I changed this to the highest settings, which is 22 amps. That's going to pull the highest amps or current out of the batteries to the motor. That gets you the highest speed. All right, with setting P15, this is the under voltage, or when the battery will shut off. I left this as the standard 41 volts is when the bike will cut off and no longer work. So the other settings I didn't tinker with, but you definitely want to change settings P14, the current set to 22 amps. Change P02 from kilometers to miles, depending on your location. And then the speed limit P08, I set that to 100, so there wouldn't be any limit or governor. So I hope that helps you out. Like I said, linked in the description below is a link to the manual so that you can go through this all yourself.
Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.